welcome to the Sweaty and the Farmer, and the game design. It's simple, it's easy and delicious all the time. We have the ultimate multi-dimensional hamburger, each part of it brought from different dimensions across the universe. And the taste is never the same. This is episode number 57. Jesus. Victory or dead. I am the lone gamer as the Sweaty.
And I am Lucho the Farmer. Thanks for joining us on this episode. This week we read the big book of Azeroth.
That we do, my friend. But before we go on in something that I'm actually scared to do, the disclaimer. This discussion here is based on our own opinions and our own in-game experiences. Anything that we say here can be debated, negated, and or contradicted by you listeners. If you don't like our opinions, you can tell us in any of our social media that we're wrong and we don't know what we're talking about. You're right. We're gonna do our best effort to not butcher this thing. So without further ado, it's the beginning of the review of World of Warcraft as a whole. Of course, in the context of the Shadowlands experience. We're gonna analyze it from World of Warcraft November 2020 from release of Shadowlands, right? That's the idea.
Yeah, we're talking about the retail game. We're not gonna talk about
retail. We're not gonna talk about past expansions or.
We'll talk about past expansions,
yeah.
but
for the discussion in systems,
we're talking about the state of the game.
Yeah.
Of the current state of the game.
Yeah, correct. And for discussion of systems and all those sort of stuff, we're gonna do as is right now in Shadowlands. In the first week of release of Shadowlands, as is right now. In November 2020. Alright?
Exactly.
Alright. This game. We have been like let's start with a little preface or something like that. With a prologue, if you're gonna put it in somewhere. We've been talking about this game a lot in this podcast.
For months now.
For months and months. We're talking about all the interesting things that's happening, the loot, the systems, and everything. Right? So, World of Warcraft is one of those games which is by now one of the most recognizable games in the mainstream as an MMO.
Yeah.
Right? But
it is probably the only MMORPG that
is
any people
know what it is. Yes, exactly. It is like that. It is at the side of super recognizable games like Zelda and Mario Brothers. Like it is in that place, and it's all due because of the big explosion in popularity on Wrath of the Lich King expansion, and with the South Park episode and big height in popularity of the game. That the general news media took notice of it around that time, right?
Yeah.
And so World of Warcraft became one of the most profitable and I believe still one of the most profitable MMORPGs.
I wouldn't be surprised if that is it.
Yeah. And it kept a company like give Blizzard great success. They have great games, like don't get me wrong. They have great story success. We're talking about we have talked about Diablo 3 here and the story of that, but World of Warcraft was like a cultural phenomenon for them. For everybody.
It was definitely.
Right?
Yeah, World of Warcraft was definitely like a milestone for Blizzard.
Yeah.
When they went to like a good company,
Yeah,
just like a behemoth of the industry.
correct. That was the stepping stone, man. That was the insanity. Was released. And so we're talking about a 16-year-old game.
Yep, 16-year-old game.
Yeah, we're talking about a 16-year-old game who has been through insane amount of changes.
Through all the changes that you can imagine.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
And now, I think, all right. For the first impressions, and we're still in the honeymoon phase of Shadowlands.
Yeah, but like, even if that is the case, like the game is not gonna be significantly different. Like the core of the game is the same.
Yeah, the core of the game is
your experience in BFA. Like,
yeah,
like there are things that change around, but like the core of the game basically
is for me, like, it's for me a very interesting and big achievement for Blizzard to keep a 16-year-old game going with this much popularity, this much profitable, and like everything that they have done for so long. Like, it's a milestone in terms of the game industry in general.
Yeah, it's definitely a study case.
Yeah, and they have kept the core gameplay through all this time, right? The initial construct, like the brick that is World of Warcraft, and I'm talking about specifically like movement, camera movement, and like spell uses. That hasn't changed.
Sure, like the mechanical aspect of the game
Correct.
has not changed.
Yeah, the core mechanic aspect of the game.
I mean, some things have changed.
Yeah.
Small things, but yeah.
Yeah, but they're generally quality of life adjustment and that sort of stuff. Not fundamentally changing the core of the game.
Yeah, no,
Right?
not really.
And we have in time to time see the industry try to make the next WoW killer. And this game is good. I think it's gonna be older enough to drink, and they haven't. They will not dethrone it.
No, if there is one game that is gonna kill WoW, is WoW.
Yeah, in some countries, this game is already old enough to get married.
Sadly,
yeah. Like, so anything that you want to say before we, like, about the game and the cultural importance of the game? Like, I'm actually scared to review this game because I'm 100% never going to do it wrong, because the game is such a difficult case study, such a milestone game that is daunting to actually go ahead and try to review it in the shape that we have reviewed other games, right?
Yeah, but it has to be done.
It has to be done. Says Lucho. All right. Anything else to add beyond the recognizable and the big stuff of World of Warcraft through the years?
No, I mean that the game has changed a lot through the years.
Yeah.
And that experience in vanilla was different than the experience in Rat, and the experience in Mist of Pandaria, and the experience in BFA, and it's definitely different than what Shadowlands is bringing to the table.
I think it's
so all those things should be kept in mind.
Yeah, and I think
because we're going to be talking about the current state of the game.
Correct. That's why we have to clarify. I think it's one of the strengths of the game. Like, they do change a lot from expansion to expansion, but they keep that same very solid.
They have to.
I know they have to. They have to like, if they don't do that, they die. That's why we say that if somebody's gonna kill WoW, it's themselves.
They have to. They have to. For as much as people say that they don't like change, they need change.
Yeah.
So otherwise it just get really boring, really fast.
That is correct. So, all right, here we go, I guess. Into our World of Warcraft review. So, as we usually do here on our 3-part reviews, we're going to start by the fundamental core and the gameplay of the game. So, let's talk about the basic things of World of Warcraft. Basic things of World of Warcraft is the most classically gameplay. It's weird, man, because I have these memories of like playing World of Warcraft so many years ago, and even if like the core changed, like you move with WASD and you move your camera with the mouse and you get it in, and then you press a bazillion buttons to do your rotation and that sort of stuff. I don't know. It has this weird deepness, and like all the classes feel the same. I don't know how to express it. It's very hard. Like the basic. All right, the basic movement is easy. It's just like a 3D model, and then you move it with WASD, and then you move your camera freely in a third-person view. You can zoom in to get in the first-person view, but normally World of Warcraft is a third-person view.
I mean, yeah. No. It's completely unplayable in first person.
I know. I'm just saying.
It is there, I think, just for
cinematic purpose. I think is the thing, right? Yeah. I'm just saying. So, and that is the game. What does this feels like? What is the thing that the movement and the basic controls of World of Warcraft tells you from a pure gameplay like controlling perspective? And it's like this game is about exploring the world. You can like zoom out the camera a lot more than any other like games in third person lets you. Right? And that's from the beginning. You can go and climb a mountain and see the sights, and this freedom with the camera makes you feel like smaller in a bigger world, which is what World of Warcraft is telling you from that basic component of the game.
It does.
Right?
It helps to that purpose.
But
I believe that the camera is more of a mechanic tool to aid players when they are facing more challenging content.
Yeah. But the freedom exists there. And now the core of MMOs, like because this was an extrapolation of the classic D&D MMO like structures put into the game, and it's like you have a lot of buttons to press. You have like a daunting amount. And that was the one thing that I always intimidated about World of Warcraft. It's like, you see all these bazillion things on your screen you can press. You intentionally press. You're like, what? I just have like, what?
Yeah, the multiple stacking action bars full of little icons.
Yeah. And that's for me, that's the first barrier to entry of World of Warcraft. Just like trying, like deal with it, because I know where, and this is like a remaining from the old days of that design of World of Warcraft, because you don't need the game still, how to put this, is difficult. This game is insanely difficult to analyze. The game when was created, it had a very slow, quote unquote, gameplay pace, right? So
yeah, the pace of the game was definitely slower.
Yeah. So what that allows you is like, if you have a bunch of abilities, you have the time enough, and I know that some of the people that play World of Warcraft are gonna crucify me for it, to go and click whatever ability was relevant at the moment, right? If it was closer, the feeling was closer to to a turn-based game.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, in the sense that you feel that you have more time.
The game from the beginning has allowed and some degree encouraged queue endings and macros. Like the macro tool is not new. It was
I know. I'll move on to that. But like, I'm trying to get to the idea of the design of giving you all these different spells and options on the thing. So that the things like the pace of the game will allow you to use your buttons. So what is the idea of the design behind a class? In general, in World of Warcraft, you have this core collection of spells. Generally, in any class of World of Warcraft, and they vary between 5 to 6 core things that you class do. And that is generally your rotation of if you want to just do damage against a dummy and feel the flavor of the class, those are the buttons you press. And if you tell that, it feels reasonable. 6 buttons fits in a controller, right?
But that's modern WoW.
Yeah. I'm talking like the design in general of the classes. And then the rest of things that WoW gives you are situational tools. If you need more protection, if you need movement, if you're doing this particular thing and you got this proc, so you can use this tool. You want to slow mobs and sort of like situational effects. That's the rest of the kit of the class. And in general, they of course surround the theme of the class. So not all tools are the same, but they have the same idea. When they design this tool that you're not pressing it all the time.
Sure.
Right?
I really don't know where you're trying to go with this.
What?
I don't know where you're trying to go with
this. What do you mean? I don't know? What do you mean? I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm going to explain. Like my point is that the offer of abilities in World of Warcraft is complex. It looks complex. But if you take a step back and think about it, it's a core of tools that they're giving you, and then a core of situational tools that they're giving you from class to class, right? And yes,
sure,
yeah. So and then you have the macro part that Lucho is talking about. So if you wanna like,
I just mentioned that because you implied that from the beginning. They designed the game as if you were to click the thing, like with the mouse. All I was saying is that was never the intention, because by default, the action bars are key-binded to a number.
Yes.
So yes. All my point is that, like that from the beginning, the tools for taking control of the controls were there. So all I was saying is that it never felt, not even the region, like not even vanilla.
Yeah.
It never felt like it was designed to click stuff with the mouse. It really was not.
All right. So how do you?
That was my only point.
All right. So now, my question to you is, from a design perspective, it makes sense that I'm gonna give you as much power and control of whatever the class or thing that you're doing in the game, and I'm giving you, like, how many spells does a class generally have?
It's a bunch of spells.
Like between 20 and 25 spells.
Sure.
Right? So, how do you feel that a player should approach this kind of like offering? Because nowadays it's very strange to see a game. And I'm not talking only an MMO, because this is like the classic thing of MMO. They're giving you all this kind of thing. But nowadays, the majority of games are very streamlined, and they give you like variants offerings in other places. But this has been the mark of MMOs for a long time. Well, they give you all these spells that they're changed or
but they don't give you all the things at once.
Of course, they don't give you all the things at once, but that's what you end up at the end. Of course, they ease you into it so you can understand how the class works, right?
Yeah, that's how you handle it.
Yes, that is correct. But at the end, you end up with all these options. So you find that it's effective in terms of basic combats to like ease the player part by part of this ginormous kit of the MMOs in general, because all the MMOs does it. But if it
depends how it's done. So if the game gives you time to explore each spell or each new ability one at a time and include that kind of organically in your gameplay, at the end of the day, like people are not stupid.
Fair.
Like if you use them in the process, like you will get accustomed to the tools. You may not be doing the most efficient thing, but you will know what all the tools do.
Correct. So in terms of basic combat in World of Warcraft, that's what you end up with, like these big optionals bar of spells.
Like all the class, like all the spells can be broken into basically 3 categories.
Yeah.
Which are just your usual, and it doesn't matter the role. Like you have some attack spells or like DPS things. You have some category of defensive things.
Correct.
And you have some utility stuff.
All right.
The defensives are the things that you press when you're oh shit, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
You press that. And the utility, that basically covers all your usual slows, interrupts, CC, crowd control,
movement stuff.
Movement can fall into that, and all the classes have some version of all these things. So that's kind of the core structure of how modern class in WoW exists.
Yeah, correct.
Like they have different amounts of, depending on the class and on the spec inside of each class.
Yeah, some are more streamlined than others. Some has different procs than others. Some were waiting for some things.
Yeah, and they are weighted in different ways. Like some of them have more DPS spells and less utility, or more utility and less defensive. So just each class and each spec brings some mix of those things, a different mix of those things to a table.
Correct.
And all of them have those 3 same tools.
Yeah.
At their disposal at all time.
Yes. So, and then how, when we cover like the most complex thing of the basic thing with basic combat will work, which is the big spell bar. So if you want to try the game,
spell bars.
Yeah, spell bars. Yeah, that's right. So and on top of that, you have like consumables and potions, as any MMO has, right?
Yeah, like I'll put all the consumables, like the utility.
In the utility
part of the tools that the game gives you.
Yeah. So after that, after you like kind of got used to what because like in reality, when I play World of Warcraft, I'm just like I just watch a very small part of my bar, right? You just watch the procs and what you have to hit when they proc, generally speaking, right? and the management resource that you have, right? And the other utilities and that sort of stuff, you generally, they don't demand 100% your attention. They're there for when you need to say, oh crap. But they don't demand that much attention as it looks like, right? Because you see all this, especially WoW. Like you see, if you're gonna see a streamer of WoW or something like that playing, you see that all the parts like flashes and there's lights everywhere and like constant clocks because of the global cooldown and sort of stuff. So don't be intimidated. It's not that they're 100% using everything there.
I mean, good players are.
Of course. But I'm trying to ease people to try the game. Help me out here.
I'm trying to ease people. I'm trying to be honest about the game.
Yeah.
Like any competitive good player, it's thinking out all the things at the same time.
Of course.
But that comes again, the game doesn't give you a new class with all the things at once.
Yeah, correct.
So if you level up through a class, you go through a whole leveling up process on your own.
Yeah.
The game itself will ease you one spell at a time.
Correct.
And it will give you enough time to get used to the spells. You have to do the homework and read the descriptions and try to figure out what the spells do.
Yeah.
What the activation conditions are, because some of them have. So you have to read. It's a game where you have to read a lot if you want to do. It's not like, I mean, that's kind of a legacy thing of the game being old.
Yes, correct.
The only way to figure things out in WoW is reading.
Or go and find a guide, which is a lot of reading.
No, but I'm just talking about in game. You can figure everything out in game. You just have to carefully read all the descriptions
and what they do and when they proc, and that is everything there. Everything is there. And in terms of engaging creatures and monsters and that sort of stuff.
You click on them.
And then you respond to their casting spells and their channeling abilities, because that's the one thing that WoW has maintained from all the years, the casting and interrupts and that sort of stuff, when you like stop your enemies from being thing. But the weird thing now that I've been playing this game is that I thought that the gameplay, the day-to-day gameplay was gonna get boring at some point. But the gameplay feels weighty enough, and I don't know how to describe it, because it's kind of a feeling. It feels weighty enough, engaging enough when you. And of course, I imagine it depends from the class. I play a very, very particular melee class, but even playing with the mage, you still feel like.
I mean, the basic stuff work.
Yeah.
That's one of that's why it was adopted. By many games before and after World of Warcraft. It's not like World of Warcraft invented this control scheme.
Yeah. But the engaging with creatures, it feels satisfying in terms of basic combat.
It is very simple too. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yes. You just click on the thing and the thing will attack you and you will attack it.
And you'll auto attack it, and then you can press all your shiny
buttons. Yeah.
In that sense, it's very simple.
Yes.
Like the deepness of the game doesn't come from just attacking things and pressing buttons at random.
Correct.
Just like that part of the game is not the important part of the game. Your mind is not thinking about that.
Yeah.
Like when you're playing, you're not thinking, oh, I have to click this creature. No, I have to attack this creature. Like you're not thinking, that's automatic, like in your head. Your head is engaged with other things, which is like just the fact that you have to keep up your rotation.
Yeah.
Even if it is a simple rotation, it still takes a couple of neurons to keep the rotation properly.
Yeah.
That plus the rest of the things that you have to keep in mind in the game, it's engaging enough. It's just,
correct.
And it can go from like relax doing role content to just going around the world killing stuff.
Yeah. To very intense to raiding when you everything everything matters.
It doesn't require like a lot of concentration and focus, but
yeah.
And then there's a whole spectrum of things in between those, and you can play at whatever level you prefer. But you just like you find like since the spectrum is so wide, you can find deepness in whatever place you want.
Correct.
I think that's the success that you can choose, kind of half a slider of difficulty, and you choose where to put it, and then you engage at that level with the game.
Yeah. So to close this like basic section of movement and that sort of stuff, I will say that the controls in terms of movement and that sort of stuff are super basic. You jump, you move, you run, you move your camera and that sort of stuff. But the chunky part of it is the interaction of the 1,000 buttons that you can press.
Yeah, that's definitely
your spells, the management of resources, and the management of rocks and the situational things. That's the core engagement of the basic gameplay of World of Warcraft.
Yeah, the engaging part of the game is learning how to use all the tools that the game gives.
Correct.
In an quote-unquote efficient manner, or something that you find efficient for yourself.
Correct.
And the success of the game is that across all the different classes and specs, it has different combinations of things that you prefer. Like you prefer longer rotations, you have
going slow, blah blah blah.
You have other classes, you want slow, like smaller rotations, but with more classes that require more situational awareness, but with bigger what was the name? Utility toolkits that require you to just be paying more attention to stuff. Or you prefer a class that has a larger like DPS rotation that you kind of muscle memory into, but you're not bringing that much utility. Yeah. The game has something for everyone. If you're willing to put the time to learn the basics of the game, I guess.
Yeah, and not only that, but the game is dynamic too, in terms of like you have to still dodge stuff from the ground, like physical dodging stuff in the ground.
Yeah,
like that you attack and do like mechanics and that sort of stuff. Yeah, so it keeps you engaged in all the axes. Like not only you have to concentrate on whatever doing rotation, but you have to be aware that you have to move of what you're doing and like
like on top of that, like you have mobs that are casting stuff that you want to interrupt. You have mobs that are channeling things that you want to CC. You have mobs that you don't want to deal with.
You have areas that you need to move away from, and like attacks you have to move away from. So very very engaging stuff.
It is surprisingly engaging for how simple it can be.
Correct. I think that's the whole takeaway.
For sure.
So now, let's talk about the leveling experience right now in World of Warcraft from 1 to 50. Right now, they're easing you into the game. The change...
newish.
Yeah. newish. They changed the starting experience.
They changed the starting experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we discussed in another podcast. And now they're like more modernly easing you into the game. They removing a little bit of the slow pace of the leveling up experience that they had before. And the lostness that you feel sometimes when you were leveling up. Yeah, you didn't know what to do.
Yeah, for sure.
You were dropping this like ginormous game and you're like, help.
They basically did that.
Yeah, and the game was like, you can do all this. Help.
Yeah, now the game is sending you to a specific place.
Yeah. So
but the question about leveling is more about, like, does the game give you enough time during the leveling process so that you can get acquaintance with all your tools?
I would say yes.
Like, is it enough time? Because what they have to balance in the leveling is that it doesn't have to feel like if it takes too long to level up.
Yeah.
In WoW, it feels like why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I'm bored of doing this.
Correct.
So it cannot take too long.
Yeah.
But it still needs to give enough time to the players to
get used to the tools, to get used to the
I got a new spell.
Yeah.
I need to learn, like, and to read what the spell does. I need to see where do I put it. Is it part of my main rotation? Is it not? Is it a defensive? Is it an utility thing?
Yeah.
Is it just something else? So it has to balance those two things. And now since the level, like before the level squeeze, we had the problem that we're leveling up for like 110 levels or 120 levels, and it will feel like there were big pieces of leveling that were empty because you were not getting any new stuff.
Correct. Yeah, it was terrible.
It was terrible. Now you're pretty much getting, at least for the first 40 levels, you get something new every time. After that, it slows down a little bit because you get upgrades, like you get the rank 2 of the spells and stuff like that.
Yeah, the passives.
But at the beginning, it feels very dynamic. Like every level, you're getting a new spell, a new thing to put in your action bar.
Yeah. Which is
good. That's really good.
Yeah.
You can speed level, like, I think it's like 5 hours, 6 hours. You can level
something
up
like that.
fresh 1 to 50. But the question is, does the game give you enough time to learn a new spec?
I will say, I feel like yes, but not as. I would say yes. I would say the game gives you enough time to get used to everything, right? Because the time between like I would say like every 3 or 5 levels in that 1 to 40 will give the game will actually give you something new.
Yeah.
And it starts slowing down as more and more you progress through the leveling experience. So I say yes. I say because you want to keep like it's the balance that you talk. You want to keep like the player feeling that they're progressing while they're learning their new stuff. And like it's not bad. I feel like it's not bad if a player ends up his leveling process and he's not 100% understand the entirety of the class, but if he understands the core of what his class is doing.
I mean, like if it is your first character, you want. It's just the game is too complex for that.
Correct.
But as long as you have like a basic understanding of what the class or what the spec entails.
Yeah, and I feel like absolutely that's happening in that leveling process. Like you get out of the leveling process understanding what is the core of whatever you're doing, whatever class you play. Right, and that's
I feel like there are some classes that are harder. Like if if you're leveling up a tank or a healer,
Oh, okay.
and you didn't know it WoW prior to, it can be really daunting to
Yes.
to learn those specs.
Then the question becomes is like, there, all the classes has a DPS spec, right?
Yes.
So my question is, in that leveling process, should the game always puts you on a DPS spec?
They always do by default.
There we go.
But you can change anytime you want.
I know. So the question is, should you change before you understand the entirety of your class? Or should tank and healer specs should be learned after in this imaginary
the problem is that
process? Yeah.
For most classes, I guess we should explain what classes and specializations are.
Jesus, this game, man. We're never gonna finish this, Lucho.
I know, it's fine. It's easy. Like a class, it's like your classical fantasy class. You have your paladins, your warriors, your mages, your rogues, your little rangers with bows that we call hunters, your druids that are all hippie and attuned with nature,
and your warlocks that are
your
the bad side of the bad side of the mages.
You have your all beautiful priests and stuff.
Yeah, you have
your shamany guys that summon elemental powers from
correct.
The earth.
You have your druids that transform into things, into different creatures.
So you have that's what each class is. It's just like your standard fantasy.
Yeah, if you open a D&D book, probably you find all the classes.
you have a very good chance of. It's like the pretty standard thing you would imagine the fantasy setting.
Correct.
The thing is that each class in WoW has a specialization. What a specialization is like a more specific set of realizing each class.
Yes. So they're like subclasses.
They are for a specific purpose just subclasses.
Yeah.
And that's what you end up paying attention to, your specialization more than the class, because
correct.
Different specializations or subclasses in the same class, they're just they can be completely different.
Correct.
They play in
completely different. That's one thing that is
in
crazy.
Opposite way.
Yeah.
And even though the whole class thing is more like the fantasy setting for the thing.
Yeah.
The specialization is the actual mechanic.
Yeah.
Way of playing the game.
Correct.
That makes some sense. And every class in the game has a DPS specialization.
Yes.
And the reason why that is important is because the classes that have tanks and healing specializations.
Yeah, because not all classes have tanks and
not all classes can tank or heal. There are classes that are just DPS, like all the specs are DPS, like mages and hunters
and warlocks. Yeah.
And I think those are the only ones that are purely
rogues.
DPS. Rogues are also purely DPS.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, but in that, picking up a DPS is easy because you just have to make sure things are dying.
Yeah.
And just for example, if you pick a class and you have a tank and a DPS, since they are so different to learn, learning your DPS spec doesn't mean that you know quote unquote your class.
Yeah.
The tank spec for that class is gonna play completely different. And you can be an awesome DPS pally and an awful tank pally.
Yeah.
And they are part of the same class, but they are just different things. and you only get one chance to level it up. So if you ask, like, is the leveling process enough to know the class? Like, if you pick one, sure, because you're gonna spend not the class, but like the specialization.
Yes.
You pick one, and if you stick to that one, like as a new player, I'm thinking more as a newish player.
Yes, it's correct.
Yeah, for sure. But if you keep jumping around, things change so much that it's kind of like nor here nor there. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And that can be, and like as a new player, they just you can change anytime you want.
Yeah, they give you the freedom to do that at any point.
Yeah, because you should be able to explore whatever you want.
Yeah.
But that can be challenging.
Yeah.
Just because healing and tanking in game is more.
It's more
difficult.
Yeah.
It's more difficult. It's just hard.
Absolutely. Yeah, there is no doubt about it. Yeah.
Like those are roles that are usually reserved for more experienced players.
Yeah, correct. So in that sense, I think we should like see it from the point that you simply are, that you as a new player are simply leveling up the DPS aspect, because that's what you should do, right? Even if you want to be a healer or a tank after.
That's the easiest solution.
Yeah.
But if you really want to heal,
I
cannot tell you don't do it.
I get you, because I started playing WoW. Like the things like for me, it's easier for players to get there with a DPS. It's clearly easy to understand the game from a DPS perspective. Like when we were leveling up the first time, when I was trying leveling up, I told you like, like tanks in games in general. Like I love playing tanks in Overwatch, and from that things like I like the frontline kind of spec, blah blah blah, that sort of stuff, and it was kind of painful trying to leveling up the tank.
Yeah.
As a first-time WoW player, and like, and you saw it. Like I pick up the Fury Warrior as the recommendation of like, you want something super easy and just go through the game and blah blah blah. And that was the side of that hooked me. I still like change and play my protection warrior, but I understand that it's a lot more like complex thing to do to play that sort of classes. So if I was gonna like analyze a new player going through it, I will 100% tell them like, just whatever you're gonna do, just play a DPS spec, and if you want to do something else after, it's better that you do it after you experience the thing after a DPS as a DPS.
Oh, that for sure is a more sound recommendation. You just get to know the game and get used to the game as a whole as a DPS. Yeah. And then you can think of switching roles.
Correct. That would be definitely my thing. That would definitely 100% the recommendation.
Yeah. Like tanking in WoW, it's more situational. And you need to have some experience with the game of knowing how things look in advance, so that you can
press certain buttons and use stuff.
Your role as a tank.
Yeah, correct. The same as the healer. It's similar.
Oh, healing is way more difficult.
There you go, I imagine so. I don't even want to touch it. I was thinking like, I have an owl that is a druid. Maybe I will try to heal as a druid. And I was like, someday.
Healing is really fun, but it's really, at least when doing group activities, it's just like you are paying attention to things that no one else is paying attention.
Yeah.
and then you have a lot of responsibility on your hand.
Yes.
Like more than the tank.
Yes. So in conclusion, for this
Safe
section, I will say that yes, the game will teach you the fundamentals of the game in your leveling process, as it is right now. You have enough time, and they cut enough of the dragging off of those last levels.
Yeah, they did.
Which the leveling process, it was a pain, and like you at some point of the leveling process, you turn off your brain and you just grind the mobs till you get to what the level is, and that's generally bad. You're gonna try to sell.
I mean, to be fair in WoW, there is no really mob grinding. There are enough quests around.
Yes, I know, but at some point you just turn your brain off and do the quest.
You turn your brain off and you're just questing around.
Yeah,
but but just to be clear, there is no mob grinding.
No. In retail is no longer a thing. I was giving an example of what would happen. All right. And now the Shadowlands level experience, which is the brand new one from 50 to 60.
Yeah.
I really like it, man. Like some people were saying like, oh, it was too on rails, but I really enjoy it.
I mean, it is an on rails experience.
Yeah.
Like at least for your first character in the expansion. It's very on rails.
Yeah, I haven't done
you have 4 zones and you go through a story of each zone in the same order, like in a set order.
Yeah, correct.
And it does make sense from a storytelling perspective because they're trying to tell you a story and they are doing it in the order that makes the most sense.
Yeah. The stories generally have order.
They do, but they are telling the story in a very specific order for dramatic purpose.
Correct. Yeah.
Like VFA, it had a story, and each zone had a story, for example.
Yeah.
But you could go through those however you want.
Yes.
It will end up telling like a complete story at the end, and it will paint the picture for the whole story of the zone.
Yeah.
But it was by no means like a linear quest like Shadowlands is, because it's telling you like a very purposefully dramatic line story.
Yeah.
Which, sure, again, I can see why people don't like it. It's one of the appealing things of WoW is just the freedom of you can just do whatever you want. And I mean, people like that.
But I don't know. I still feel fine, and we did some side questing. There is the option always that you can do some side questing.
Yeah, for sure. But still, it's still the fact that they're putting you zone after zone in a set order.
On rails, yeah.
It feels very on rail.
Yeah.
It's gonna make it it is easier to follow. You cannot get lost too much.
Yeah. So how was the Fates, the second experience? The Fates. What was the name?
I don't know. Something Fate.
Something Fate Trade. Something. Yeah.
Something Adventure Mode.
Yeah, Adventure Mode. Yeah, technical Adventure Mode in yellow. Yeah, absolutely.
So basically you arrive to level 50, you play the more introductory quest.
Yeah.
And then they drop you into the main city and they ask you, what do you want to do? Do you want to play the campaign? Or you don't? And if you say that you don't, you get to choose a covenant right away.
Straight away. Nice. All right.
And then they just tell you, okay,
go
and have fun. And basically what they do is that they give you this little quests, like you talk to one guy, and he makes you choose one of the 4 zones, and they send you there, and you have to fill up a bar.
No, cool.
By doing activities on that zone, and when you fill that bar, you go back to the main city, and they make you choose another zone, and then you go and do activities in the zone. But doing activities is just doing whatever you want.
Just go side questing, exploring.
Go do events, go kill rares, go grind mobs, anything. You can ignore all of that. You can just spam dungeons from the main city.
Cool. So you spam the dungeons of the zone that you pick up?
No, you can spam any dungeon.
Any dungeons? Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
There are 4 leveling dungeons, so you can spam the shit out of those 4.
Cool. So,
And it's actually, I think it's actually faster. It took me maybe 2 days to level up using that.
2 days.
Yeah, like
No,
not
how many
not
hours?
48 hours, but
yeah, I know, right? Oh, say it in hours, Lucho. You're
I don't
2
know.
days is like what forever. Wow. How many
maybe
hours?
like 6 hours.
That's super quick.
Yeah, but it's because like these events that give you like extra experience in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah,
Not like the ones that replace world quests. Are the ones that have like the little swords.
Yeah, the little
right?
source. Yes.
Yep. Those just give you a ton of experience.
Nice.
So you can just go through the zones doing those and killing rares in between.
And you
That
level up
gives
super
a
fast.
lot of experience.
Cool. So it's very, very smooth. Very.
It just do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I think.
And
Yeah.
no, like the other thing is that from 50 to 60, you don't gain that many more spells.
No, you get like 2 passives and that's it. I think.
For the most classes, 1 extra skill, like one
And
extra
an
spell
extra
and a
skill,
couple of passives.
Yeah.
And
So-
so
Yeah, there you go. Very, very smooth.
it's very, very smooth.
So yeah, so overall, like I do kind of like this new leveling experience.
I feel like the current state of the game for leveling in general,
Yeah,
it's healthier.
yeah, it's healthier than it was before. Yeah, absolutely. You have enough time with it. You have a very, very clear tutorial with the new zone. Like if you're a brand new player, you're a very, very, very clear tutorial of like what you're supposed to do in this game. Go explore, go fight mobs, go loot, buy stuff, play with the bajillion currency that WoW likes to play, and go and have cool scenarios. That's what the starting leveling sells you. It is very well constructed and sells you the core thing of the game: combat, exploration, questing, and scenarios, and then boss fights. Right, all that in the first 10 levels of your experience in World of Warcraft. It's telling you. So it's super good. It's super good. Like I find like that leveling experience is super good. It does an excellent job of selling you the game. Like we experienced the old leveling experience. It was nice. It was nice because of the freedom of exploration. But at some point, you need an arrow somewhere.
I mean, some people, it depends.
It depends on the person. Some person are super easy to get like their own objectives and they know what they want to do and they enjoy it. But some people need that arrow that points you to your next progression point.
I mean, to be fair,
Yeah,
the arrow was always there. It's just that now it is more prominent.
correct.
Because that's for example the job that the Adventure Journal
He's supposed to be
has.
doing. Correct. Yes.
No, and it does. Like
Yes,
if before the new thing, you're in the middle of something, you could just open the Adventure Journal and it will tell you, oh, this is the suggested content.
Yeah, you should do this. Yes.
And you could actually just click there, like, okay, send me there, and it will give you a quest that it will send you to where it's saying.
Yeah.
So the arrow was there. It's just that now it's more prominent,
Correct.
more like
Correct.
in your face.
Correct. Which I think is overall good. Like, it's better for new players.
It is easier for newer players.
Correct. I would say that. Yeah. So yeah, overall the leveling right now, I think right now the leveling experience in WoW is the best that has been.
It's probably the best that it has been in a while.
Yeah. We'll say that. You'll learn your stuff and get a from the other side very good. All right. Loot. Loot.
This is a complicated topic in WoW.
Oh my god!
This is the cornerstone around all the problems in WoW. It's loot. Because that's the only thing that matters at the end of the day.
Loot.
Is the loot.
Alright. So, where do I begin? Classes has stats.
Classes do have stats.
What?
Classes do have stats.
Classes do have stats, and fuck, Jesus. All right, where to begin? So basically, there are different types. Yeah.
It is pretty standard. Like you have. It is a very classic RPG in that.
Yeah, you have
different slots of gear. Like you have your headpiece, shoulders, chest, your pants, your belt, your rings,
wrist,
your trinkets, and your weapons,
and a couple of rings in each hand. So it's very classic Dungeons and Dragons slottish.
It's very, very RPG classic.
Yeah, very RPG classic in those terms. Like you have a lot of I was thinking about this like, whoa, you have a lot of slots.
You have a lot of slots. You have and you have 2 trinkets, 2 rings. You have 14 plus weapons.
Jesus, that's a lot of slots.
Yeah.
So, and that's the core itemization.
No, I'm lying. You have 12 plus slots plus weapons.
12 plus weapon, yeah, because the weapon can use both slots or one-on-one.
It depends on the specialization. You can dual wield, or you can have a 2-handed weapon.
Correct. Or you have a shield and a sword.
Or you can have off hands, yeah.
Off hands, yeah. That's the other thing, yeah. So that's a lot of slots.
but yeah, you have a lot of slots where you basically have pieces of gear that have different combinations of stats.
Yeah. So, and generally, the curious thing is like, generally the trinkets is the interesting part of the slot because they're activable. They can be activated.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that they're in between rings and trinkets. Those can have like a special abilities or effect that can be passive, or they are a trigger, or they are on use. Like you get a new thing to use.
Yeah. But this is only for the trinkets, right? The on use things.
The only on use are trinket.
Correct. Yeah, that was
rings can have passive abilities like equip and gain this.
Everything. Well.
No,
not everything. Yeah, you're right.
No, the only pieces that can have like a special abilities, like this is a special passive, or if this happen, these procs are rings and trinkets.
And weapons, right?
Weapons, but that's rare.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of, that's not really a thing.
All right, fair enough. So,
like, it was a thing for BFA because of the corruptions and the things, but
no,
weapons
stop,
for the most.
Stop.
I know, but all I'm saying is that weapons for the most part are not. They're just...
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, not the norm. That's what you think. Yeah.
All I'm saying is that the norm is it's rings and trinkets, and trinkets are the only on use.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. So they have what is in the loot. They have the main stat. Right.
Yeah, like stats are split in 2 categories, like main, like primary stats and secondary.
Correct.
And the primary stat changes depending on your specialization.
Correct. And then you have different types of clothes. You have leather.
You have
plate,
different types
mail.
of armor that can be worn by different classes.
Correct.
You have plate, leather, mail, and cloth.
Yeah. So following
and weapons, you have multiple types of weapons.
Yeah. Following the logic of this fantasy class thing,
It is very, very. It is what you would expect.
Yeah.
So warriors can equip swords and maces and axes.
And they wear plate armor
and depending on the specialization, two-handed, dual wielding, or one-handed, or one-handed and a shield.
Correct. Yeah.
Hunters are the only ones that can equip range weapons. It's a fun fact.
Yeah, bows and pistols.
Bows and guns.
Yeah, bows and guns.
But are the only class that can use.
That's curious, right? You're right. Yeah, hunters are the only class that can use.
Because all the range classes are cast.
Yeah, are castable classes.
And caster
it's weird. I always imagine that the rogue will have. I always imagine that the rogue will have like a spec that uses a bow or range weapon.
Why? It is a rogue.
It is a rogue because rogues sometimes use range weapons.
Rogues are stabby. I don't know what rogues are you talking about.
I don't know, like sniper rogues.
Those are not rogues. Those are called marksman hunters.
Okay. Anyways, and then you have the secondary stats, which is haste, mastery, crit, chance.
Those are shared across all the specializations.
Yep.
And yeah, they're like haste, mastery, versatility, leech, movement speed, all those things.
Crit chance. All the classic secondary stats, right?
All the things that sound normal.
And that's basically the loot. You have main stats, you have secondary stats. Some secondary stats are more important for your class than others. And you have to balance between those three. Versatility is a lot more important in PvP for reasons, because they make it important.
It's because versatility gives you more survivability.
There you go. Yeah. So it is the important stat if you're gonna do PvP. That's what I.
It was the important stat for BFA. Let's see how PvP.
Inshallah.
Shapes up for Shadowlands.
All right, and what they have done with this loot, it's weird.
No, it's very simple.
All right.
Why do you mean it's weird?
And of course you have the rarity of the loot as is usual.
There you go. Yeah, the items have different levels of rarity.
Common, rare, epic, legendary, right?
Something. Yeah.
Something. You have a scale of colors.
It goes from gray to purple.
Yeah. It goes from gray to golden.
Yeah.
Legendaries are higher than epics.
Yeah, but legendaries are not a thing that happens often in game.
Correct, but that's the spectrum. And then they have done sets. It's usually the.
They have done sets in the past.
Yeah, now
and sets that have like set bonuses, like.
And now in Shadowlands
they're doing.
Now in Shadowlands they're doing sets again. The Covenant armor is a set armor.
The Covenant armor is a set armor, but it's not designed for endgame.
Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah. Hopefully, that will be nice if you have like sets for endgame.
That's what the game used to have.
Yeah, they used to have sets
in many different expansions.
Yeah,
I think up to Legion, it had like raid sets will have like set stats
bonuses
or set abilities. Yeah,
nice. I like that.
And they still exist up to some degree. They existed in BFA. Like you have combinations of rings, for example, the Mechagon ring.
Yes, correct. That's like small sets. Yeah, small sets. Yeah.
You have the trinket set of
of Vita and Void. Yeah.
So there are still sets in the game, but they have not been like the big gear sets as we imagine them, like the main pieces of gear, taking off a lot of pieces and giving you a big bonus once you complete all of them.
For having this.
Shadow, like as far as we know, like the raid sets are not gonna have, or the red armor is not gonna have set
bonuses.
Bonuses. But that's something that Eon has said they've been thinking of, and that they want to bring to Shadowlands back in a future patch for the game.
Nice.
But it's sets again. It's one of those things that was not in the game.
Yeah.
Then it was in the game. Then they took it away, and it's been like
this weird
all across the years.
So what is the thing about the loot insanity in this game? Because we come from BFA when you have like a legendary cloak that did a bazillion things, and then you have a legendary neck that did a bazillion things, and then you have like helmet, chest, and shoulders that have multiple abilities inside them, and then after that you have like corruption stuff that you can put on your gear, and then you have procs that you can put on your weapons, and then you have enchantments, and then you have sockets that you can put on your weapons, and then you throw your keyboard out the window.
No. You're making it to sound too complicated. It's not that complicated.
I know. Yes, I'm doing a fuss, but
yeah, like sockets. Sure, that has always been a thing. You can put a socket that gives you an extra stat.
Correct.
Those are things. Enchants, the enchants have always been a thing. Just you can buy an enchantment from the auction house, or get a friend who's an enchanter by profession.
Very, very classic flavory, again, D&D based stuff.
And different enchants have different effects. Like they give you more stats, or they make other things.
I always wonder why World of Warcraft didn't have a reroll or like reforge system or something like that.
Because gear is disposable.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and gear is static. That's the other thing about
right now it is static.
Yeah, right now, and it's important because the majority of like loot systems have random components on it. But World of Warcraft has right now static loot. Like if you go for a piece, you know that piece is gonna roll with that.
The same
stats.
2 pieces of gear have the same stats.
Correct. Yeah.
There are no random rolls in the stats anymore.
Yes.
Because that, as many other things in the game, has changed across the years.
Yeah, my God, this game, man. All right, so, So what else is in the loot? Like the loot is static. You have sets and stuff. You have legendaries that does a bunch of things.
Okay, we should talk about that, like the main thing, the main quirk of WoW loot.
All right.
And is that it basically becomes obsolete every 2 years.
Yes.
Because the game, the way that the game handles the loot is new expansion, new loot. Basically, new expansion, new game, all your loot is just useless now.
Yeah, delete it.
Pretty much.
Basically. Which is, I don't know, it's weird. Like when I started leveling up in Shadowlands, I haven't deleted my loot, my raid loot. I've grown attached to my raid loot. It's sad.
that is something that has been a complaint for some people. That you work hard to obtain this end game raid loot, raid sets, raid gear, and after a couple of months you just have to delete it because it's useless.
I know, right? They should give you something.
People grow attached to those things. But again, it is. We have talked about this before. It is just like a Magic the Gathering rotation.
Yes.
The old cards just
go away.
Yeah. they don't matter anymore.
Yeah. So and that's the thing about the loot in World of Warcraft that you have to understand. they are like
Not only
magic
loot,
card
it's
rotation.
pretty much the whole game.
Yeah, pretty much World of Warcraft is magic MMO. Or like a card game MMO where your cards are the loot that you wear. Right? And you have a current set that you play all the time. Of course, the solution for these card games is that they have eternal formats, which technically World of Warcraft have. You can keep your loot and they put it on and do all stuff.
You can keep all the loot that you can keep in your bags. Nothing is stopping you. Like the loot, for example, is not deleted from the game.
Correct.
You can go to the instances, you can go to the bosses, kill them, and get the loot.
There are some people who still have like sets from Legion and they put on that to do activities in Legion because it's easier to do activities in Legion with those stuff.
People can do whatever they want to do. But like the game is not deleting the stuff. The stuff is there, and actually the way that WoW handles it is with the transmog system.
Correct.
It's basically all the legacy stuff becomes just collectible.
Yeah, collectible appearances. Which is nice. I do like it. Like we have done runs of going to all content and
and it's not that the loot. I mean, it feels bad to delete your raid loot because
I haven't been able to do it.
So much.
I just put it on my bank and I look at it.
It's completely useless.
I know, and I think I'm not gonna delete it till I don't have like purples again on my character, and I feel safe. It's like
it's completely useless.
I know, Lucho. It's silly, but like that's the sort of attachment that that happens, right? But yeah, you have to go in with that Magic the Gathering mentality. Like every 2 years, all your things are gonna rotate up.
Even more often than that. Every major patch.
Your things are gonna rotate up. So
and that's how WoW handles the loot. Basically.
Yeah.
It's basically on a very sad rotation of next patch, pretty much. All the loot, all current loot is gonna be left behind, just because of scaling.
Correct. Just because of the way because the loot has level, like called item level in those, and the amount of stats that you get in the loot is directly proportional of the item level that the loot has, basically. And that's the way that it rotates out and it functions, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's why people say that the loot doesn't matter in WoW, because the only permanent things are cosmetics.
Yeah, but you always are chasing loot in the game.
You always are chasing loot, but like it doesn't matter. Like it's gonna disappear after a couple of months.
It's sad. But yeah, it's true. It
is like magic. It's not sad. Just
it is just
how
the normal thing.
In with the new.
I haven't been even able to change my rings. I haven't found any rings that can replace them. I imagine eventually I will find them.
I already changed everything.
You already changed everything. I haven't changed one of the swords in the rings.
Just let everything go, dude. Doesn't matter.
I know that I have to let it go. But the deeps of the ring, the problem is like nothing is giving me an improvement or a sight grade for the rings in terms of deeps.
You have to be careful with the simulations at the beginning of the expansion. They're really funky right now.
I know, I imagine so, but
it's better for you to follow your stat priority than the simulations, right?
That's interesting.
Because the expansion has been out for a week.
I know.
Like for the simulations to settle down, you have to give it another couple of weeks or so.
I know, I'm silly, but
just get rid of it and follow your stat priority.
Like as soon as it changed the neck and the cloak, it was like, oh my god, what am I doing? I'm losing all these stats. Oh. It is hard. But that's the thing about the loot of World of Warcraft. That's why it's so controversial.
I mean, big picture, yeah. Like there are a lot of nuances on how to obtain and how the games, because that's the big thing. Like the big thing is how you obtain loot. How much loot do you?
Yeah, but in the same vein of that, like that lets the WoW team be very interesting of doing loot. Like, because they know that that's the pace of the loot, they can like risk and do experiments like with corruption, for example, and like put cool and interesting things on the loot. Effects, explosions, procs, cool stuff. And in that way, in that shape, that makes the loot super interesting, even if you are going through it at that pace.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that sentiment.
Yeah. So yeah. It's... Would you say it is good or it is bad load system?
I wouldn't say... It just depends. Like if you have a really hard time letting things go, you're not gonna like the pace at what you change looting WoW.
Correct. Yeah.
Because basically you reach the point at what you are like completely gear up. That's pretty much when the next expansion, then the next big patch is gonna drop and you're gonna start replacing your stuff again.
Yeah.
So if you get attached to that, it's gonna feel bad.
Yep. I don't know. Like, to tell you the truth, it hasn't felt bad to change loots to new loots. It's hard to let go of the old loot, right?
Yeah, that's attachment.
It's not a bad feeling. It's not that I feel bad. It's just like, but it was so nice.
That's appealing.
Well, the feeling, like, what I mean is like, it feels bad. Like, I hate this. It's more like, it's just sad.
Yeah, if you don't like that feeling, you have a
but I have no problem with
WoW.
I have no problem with the game. All right, I think this review is going to take us at least 4 episodes.
It could.
We still have a lot to talk about, and we need to move on.
Yeah.
So we will continue on our next episode, guys. Don't worry about it. We have a lot of more things to analyze about this game. In terms of pure mechanics, as we
haven't
usually
even scratched the surface.
Yeah, as we usually do in our reviews, full-fledged reviews. So be patient with us. It's gonna take a little bit longer because we have a shorter format right now. So
we haven't even talked about where the game begins.
Yes. We've been just talking about systems, so there you go.
Not even that.
Yeah, we talk about the basic system of movement and combat. We talk about the basic system of leveling.
Sure.
And we talk about the basic system of loot construction.
We talk about loot, what loot is in WoW.
Yeah, basic systems. Anyways, so yeah, it's gonna be a very long and interesting review. Don't worry about it, guys. So now we move to our audience questions and feedback. Remember, if you want to contact us, you can write us down to our emails. You can write it down to our Twitter handlers. You can send us smoke signals if you want. You can send us emails passed by my stream asking the questions there. If you have communication with us, you can tell us your burning questions. For the first question of this week, we have: does PvP have to be in everything?
It doesn't have to, but why not?
Doesn't have to, but why not? It's always interesting to have a healthy amount of PvP in subship wave form. Like, technically, you can say...
Even if it is unhealthy, it's just fun.
Even if it is unhealthy, it's fun. Because you can, technically, you can, like, argue that leaderboards and that sort of stuff are PvP.
No, they're not.
Why, Lucho? Why?
Because they are leaderboards. They are not.
But
PvP.
they're technically competition between two players. I'm stretching the definition.
Not really.
But technically, they're competition between players. That's PvP. Player versus players in the leaderboard.
PvP is a direct encounter, player versus player.
Not necessarily.
Yes, it is. It is in the name.
But a leaderboard is a player versus player competition. Not directly,
No, it's not.
but it's an indirectly player versus player competition.
So it is not PvP.
But it has to, those PvP has to be direct.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Like no one will tell you that a leaderboard is PvP.
I know. I try to stretch things here. So does everything...
You're stretching
right
into a place
now...
that no one is gonna concur with you.
Fair enough. Does everything right now has to have PvP?
It doesn't have to, but I think it's an interesting experiment for most places, for most games.
Yeah. I remember...
Even if it doesn't have a place,
yeah.
It's not that you cannot maybe found something cool.
All right. Fair enough. Fair
Will
enough.
it be broken in a lot of places? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Then I put you the example of like a game, a very story-driven game like Mass Effect, end up having PvP.
Yeah, because for a story-driven as it is, it's still a shooter.
Yeah.
And whenever you have a shooter, you can shoot other people.
Yes. So why not have PvP?
I mean, was it good? Probably not.
No.
Was it like
apparently yes?
Was it like the core of the game? It was what made the game renowned? No, it was there, and you could have fun with it.
All right. Fine. Have your PvP. Why not?
I mean, I'm not a big fan of PvP, but
yeah. But it is there.
It can be stupid fun.
Fair enough. Yeah, it can be.
You know what my opinion of PvP is? My opinion of PvP is like when we do world PvP in WoW. Do we need to? No. But it's fun to encounter like from time to time just those.
Yeah, the small skirmishes or like grudges. Yeah.
It was fun when we were leveling up.
Yeah. We were, and like, I don't know, it was fine. Like, even we found like huge swaps of Horde because they're everywhere.
Yeah, but is it necessary to do it while we're leveling up? No. We could have an easier time in some places.
Just
like having it off.
Yeah,
not having to deal with PvP.
Yeah.
But it was there. We had fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't serious at all. So that's what I mean. That it doesn't have to be everywhere, but it gives that
extra. It can give you that extra spice in your game. Yeah. I think that's the thing, right? I think that is the thing. Anyways, and our second question of this week is: so do you guys buy anything on Black Friday?
Yes.
There we go. if you're not watching us on camera, you're hearing us, but you just like stood up his his SSD.
Yeah, and
his SSD hard drive on Black Friday. It's great. I've been thinking of buying some games really. That's what I've been. I want to buy like Cuphead because it's a game that I want to play and it's super cheap right now. And I was checking out like Bayonetta. That is a game that I want from. Last time I probably buy the last.
I won't be buying any games probably.
You won't be buying any games?
Not really. I don't have time.
Is enough for you?
I barely have time to play WoW right now.
He barely has time to play WoW right now. That is true.
I'll be super busy till the end of the year.
Yeah, and what I tend to do in this is funny because what I tend to do in this kind of sales is buy games that I played long time ago in pirated version.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But
just to complete my library. That's what I tend to do when big sales and promotion comes in. It's like, oh yeah, I played this game long time ago. Let's pay for it.
I just don't have time. I'm busy still the end of the year, so.
I know. Poor Lucho. We barely have time for WoW fun. That is his only hobby. So there you go. That's why we buy Black Friday. I think. Yeah. Hardware. Yeah, I have to like check out some RAM and stuff. Probably by the time you listen to this podcast, I probably buy some RAM for my computer.
You should. You should.
I need to. Correct. I should know. I need to buy more RAM for my computer. All right, and that's it, my friend.
That's all for this week's episode. Once again, thanks for tuning into The Sweaty and the Farmer and the Game Design. My name is Lucho, and you can find me on Twitter at LuisJopolenko.
And I am the Lone Name Gamer, and you can find me on Twitter at the Lone Name Gamer, and on Twitch on twitch.tv/LoneNameGamerTV, where I stream Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, do everything social. Tell everybody. Post it in the sky if you're on a smoking airplane, I guess. You say like riding in the sky. Listen to the Sweaty, the Farmer, and the Game Design. That's a big thing to try to ride in the sky, but you can put it in a banner though. That way you don't have to ride it with smoke, right?
Yeah, it's probably
screaming to
too small letters to read.
Yeah, share the content, share it with everybody, share it with your friends, share it with your pet, and do everything social that helps us keep doing this. We enjoyed it deeply, guys. That's the truth. We enjoy doing this. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the episode, and thanks for coming to The Sweaty, the Farmer, and the Game Design. See you next time.
Bye.
Did you know hamburgers got their name from Hamburg, Germany, where a cut of beef called the Hamburg steak is from? This evolved into what we know as the hamburger. And during World War I, the US government tried to rename hamburgers to Liberty Sandwich. Because of Merck. Because Merck. There you go. Liberty Sandwich, man.
Merck.
Eat Liberty Sandwich. Bring by Bald Eagle.
One of the most expensive burgers available in the US is served at the Fleur de Lis in Las Vegas. The Fleur burger is made with Kobe beef and topped with foie gras and black truffles. It also comes with a 1990 bottle of Chateau Petrus, all for $5,000.
Jesus. Why will you buy a burger that expensive if good burgers doesn't need to be that expensive? Like,
dude, but Kobe beef?
That what? What?
Kobe beef? That shit is so good.
Oh man, I don't know. Kobe beef? What do you mean?
Kobe beef, so good.
The Kobe beef. Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. Not denying it. That is absolutely good. Have you had any? Have you ever had kangaroo hamburgers?
No.
They're nice. They're tasty. What is the best hamburger you ever had?